Hello everyone, I just want to first start off by saying this video was inspired by Rita. You've definitely seen her. Her channel's been blowing up the past couple days, so shout out to her. Go watch her videos. She made a video talking about just the law of assumption in general, and I haven't watched it yet. I will after this, but I just wanted to make my own take on this because I feel like this video is going to be the culmination of all my videos, and I feel like I just have a deeper understanding now about all of these topics, and I want to have a video that everybody can just go to and watch. So this video will be broken down into specific chapters. This will be kind of an update on some topics I've talked about before, but now I have a deeper understanding. So let's get started. Law of assumption. What is the law of assumption? Law of assumption is basically what you assume to be true will be true. Pretty simple. People have said you can call it law of dominant thought, which also makes sense because an assumption is what you're constantly, consistently telling yourself. I encourage you to look up definitions of stuff. You just call it law of dominant thought. Law of consistent thought, what you're telling yourself over and over and over again will manifest. How to manifest. How do you manifest, Indigo? I'm so glad you asked. I'll tell you. All you have to do using law of assumption is assume what you want has happened, is currently happening, is going to happen. Your choice. But you assume it's called think as if you already have what you want. What manifest? If you want to know, how to manifest, what manifests? Why does this work? This is going into the science a little bit, but your dominant thoughts are what manifests. What you're consistently telling yourself over and over and over again is what manifests. Why? There's something in your brain called the reticular activating system. And the reticular activating system, wherever you're watching this right now, if I tell you to focus on blue, the blue doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. It was always there. This is your reticular activating system working and focusing on what you tell it is important. What you're consistently telling yourself over and over and over again, your reticular activating system is going to focus on and manifest more of. I also want to throw in, you don't have to believe what you're telling yourself. Your subconscious accepts everything you're saying as true. So whether you believe it or not, your subconscious is going to accept every affirmation you say. So you do not need to believe it. Just continue to say it. Your reticular activating system takes it as something that is important, focuses on it, and it manifests. This is how your brain has always been working. This is how your brain will continue to work. So just use it to work in your favor. You can also look back on your life and see any quotes that you persist in, which I'll give you the definition of in a second. Maybe money doesn't grow on trees. Money's hard to make. Guys don't like you. Whatever negative quotes that you have. And because you have said it over and over and over again, heard it over and over and over again, and every time you hear it, you accept it as true, that's how money shows up in your life. That's how men show up in your life, etc., etc., etc. You've been manifesting all your life. You just weren't conscious of it, and now you're consciously manifesting. So you use it to work in your favor. Now let's talk about affirming and persisting. The definition of affirming is to state as fact. And the definition of persisting is to continue in an opinion or continue to exist. So you are persisting in the affirmation. You're persisting in the fact. The world is round. That is a fact. Me, every single time I think of the world, I persist in the fact that it's round because it's round. If somebody says the world isn't round, I go, yes, it is. That's me persisting in the affirmation. You, or another one, the sun rises and sets every day. That's an affirmation. Every time I think of the sun, I persist in that fact because it's a fact. All you have to do, you want $1 million. That's the affirmation. It is a fact now. You have $1 million. You persist in it. Every single time you think of the $1 million, wow, I manifested $1 million. That was so easy. That's literally it. That's all affirming and persisting is. You cannot manifest and not persist. That's like, I've seen people ask before, do you have to persist? You're always persisting. If you ask if you have to persist, you're not really understanding what it is because you're always persisting in something. This is the thing. Once again, you have been doing this your entire life. You're just now conscious of it. So also persisting, the definition is, yes, you're continuing whatever, but despite opposition or whatever. And this is where people tend to fail. And this is called wavering, or not not fail, because you can't fail at manifesting. You just manifest what you don't want. You cannot fail at manifesting. You just manifest what you don't want, or you manifest what you want. And this is all decided by persisting. So you saying that you have $1 million and then you being like, oh wait, but I don't have $1 million. You're persisting in that you don't have $1 million, but you want the $1 million. So you're going to stay over here and you're not going to go over here. This is wavering. We don't do that. You cannot serve two masters. This is a quote by Neville Goddard, who was famous for talking about law of assumption. You cannot be alive and dead. You can't have your eyes closed and you can't have your eyes open at the same time. You only focus on what you want. Affirmations, they're literally just thoughts. Don't get confused. Affirmations are just thoughts, and your dominant thoughts are what manifests. So if you have a random thought that you have BTS riding on a giraffe, riding on a unicorn in my living room, I can have that thought. They're not here. That's perfectly okay. Do you know why? Because that's not a dominant thought, and that's not what I want, so it didn't manifest. Next, everyone is you pushed out. What this means to me is everyone is just the story you tell it. Everything is just the story you tell it, and everyone and everything can only show up based on the story you tell it. So money, for example, the people who describe money as incredibly hard to make, you have to work super hard for money. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money isn't easy to come by. That's exactly how money shows up for them. The people who describe money as easy to make, I'm always making money all the time. Money's so easy to make. Money is consistently flowing to me, blah, blah, blah. That's how money shows up for them. Love, whatever gender you're attracted to. If you're constantly, consistently describing that gender as unloyal, liars, they're not trustworthy, I never get the guys I want, they always do this, that, and that. Everything you're saying about them is negative. And then think about the men that show up in your life. Negative. I was watching a YouTube video and this girl was like, gosh, I'm so unlucky. I'm always so unlucky all the time. I'm literally always so unlucky. And then she went to her favorite restaurant and it was closed, and then it started pouring rain and she didn't have an umbrella and she just bought new shoes. She was stuck out in the rain. She was like, see, I'm always unlucky. She manifested that. That's her beliefs, which we'll also get into. But everything can only show up how you say, how you keep consistently saying that they're showing up. Does this mean people are robots? No, this just means how it shows up in your life, how they show up in your life. So Bob lives his life. He's a human being. He does whatever. But when he comes into contact with you, you are affirming and persisting in how he shows up in your life. That's all it means. People are not robots. It's just when they interact with you, that is everyone and everything is you pushed out. You are in control. You decide how everyone and everything shows up in your life in relation to you. States, I will use this Sims example that made it click for me. So if you play The Sims, there are things called expansion packs. I mean, this is like DLCs, right? This could be any video game, like Bloodborne DLC, or is there an Uncharted DLC? Resident Evil DLC? Whatever. If there's a Sims school pack, it comes with a school, desks, pencils, whatever is school or education related. That is basically like a state. So if you step into the state over here, this state comes with everything. So just like Sim, school is on the top and then it comes with whatever it comes with. If you step into the state of being secure, you can think of the thoughts that a secure person would have, and it probably wouldn't be, my gosh, I'm so ugly, I hate the way I look. It would be the opposite. It would be, I love the way I look. I feel secure in myself. I don't question myself, stuff like that. A lot of people like focusing, also a state isn't a technique. You're always in a state. To me, and because it's true, a state, a dominant state and a dominant thought, they're the exact same thing. How do you get into a state? By thinking, okay, I'm in this state now. That's all it is. People like stepping into a state because it can seem easier if you're just like, okay, I'm in the state of security now. And all of these thoughts come with it. It's kind of like a download. With the Sims expansion pack, the school, everything comes with it. So that's what state is to me. Next, the science behind manifesting. This is one of my favorite parts of manifesting. Manifesting in a scientific term is literally just neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity, so we have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. It's a minimum of 60,000. I don't know if it's 80,000 or 90,000, but we have a lot of thoughts a day. And the more you think the same thought, the more it's going to repeat. A very high percent of those thoughts are the same thoughts we had yesterday. So of course, people are going to be stuck in a pattern, usually negative, because they're not conscious of their thinking. But good news, we can rewire our brains. That's literally what manifesting is. I actually went to a pop-up museum talking about neuroplasticity, and I got to talk to a guy that works there, and I was just asking him questions about manifesting, and it's literally neuroplasticity. So all you're doing is consistently changing your thoughts, because if we have a minimum of 60,000 thoughts a day and we keep having the same thoughts that we had yesterday and those thoughts are negative, if we just change those thoughts into positive thoughts, holy shit, wow. Also, as soon as you affirm something, as soon as you think a different thought, that creates a neural pathway, and the more you think that thought, the more that neural pathway is deepened. I say strengthened, same thing, or saturated, which, let's talk about repetitions. Repetition is just how you saturate your mind, right? If we know that dominant thoughts manifest, and we know that the more you repeat a thought, which is also, that's just how the brain learns. You ride a bike the first time versus riding a bike the 80th time. Riding a bike the 80th time is obviously going to be easier because you had so much repetition. So your body and your brain is just automatically doing and automatically knows what it needs to do to ride the bike. You go from consciously saying your affirmations to unconsciously saying your affirmations because you've repeated them so much that it's automatic. It's just like riding a bike or driving a car. Repetition saturates your mind to the point where I have been consciously saying my affirmations, and just at random points in the day, my affirmations are just repeated back to me in my head unconsciously, because I've saturated my mind in it so much that the neural pathway is strengthened, and I'm just automatically saying it now. Self-concept, my favorite topic. So self-concept, you're gonna hear a lot of people talk about self-concept and say that it's incredibly important, and I'm one of these people included. So self-concept is just the concept of yourself in relation to whatever. So I will give an example of someone who manifests something without a good self-concept. Now I will say, no, you do not need a good self-concept to manifest. However, why would you not want one? Because it literally, somebody tweeted that self-concept, a good self-concept solves 95% of your problems. And I would say the other 5% is actually just changing the assumption about the specific desire you have. But if you change your self-concept, the automatic assumption you have about your desires will change. So let's say you're manifesting gym. I don't know where these names come from. You're manifesting Jim Halpert. You're manifesting Jim, and you want to date Jim. Cool. So let's say, okay, I'm going to affirm and persist in the assumption that me and Jim are dating. Me and Jim are dating. He's such a good boyfriend. He's so cute. We always go on dates all the time. And then, because your self-concept is not good, you're going to start to think these thoughts and go, damn, but I don't deserve it though. He would never want me. Guys I like never like me back. God, love is so hard. Like, men are trash. Men are not loyal. Men are untrustworthy. Like, men are always awful. Men are always bad. So it's one, gonna be a little harder to think those affirmations because, and no, this is not, I'm not saying this happens to everyone, but for a lot of people who haven't worked on their self-concept, if you say these affirmations that you're with Jim Halpert, it's going to trigger the actual belief that you have, the self-concept that you have about you and you in relation to love. So you don't feel deserving of anything. You don't feel wanted. You don't feel like you're wanted. You don't feel like you're chosen. So you can sit here and be like, oh yeah, we're dating. And it can manifest. It just might take longer. And two, how are you going to have the capacity to keep it? Because you can manifest Jim in and you guys are dating, but you're going to feel jealous when he looks at someone else because you're not secure in yourself and you're not chosen. You're constantly going to question why he's even dating you in the first place, which he's dating you because you consistently repeated that he was dating you, but you don't feel deserving of it. So there is self-concept with everything. There's self-concept with money, there's self-concept with love, there's self-concept with success, and there's self-concept with yourself. So self-concept is I am statements. So the lucky girl syndrome, whatever challenge that's going around, which I'm also going to talk about challenge, that's going around, but I am lucky. That's a self-concept affirmation. I am chosen. I am desired. I am wanted. I am loved. I have a bunch. I'm in control, which you are, whether you believe it or not. Like, who wouldn't want to be with me? That's a great love affirmation, but it's literally just, I am. There's a self-concept with manifesting. If you think manifesting takes 80,000 years, guess what? You'll get your desire in 80,000 years. But the people who think manifestation is instant, they're the types of people that are manifesting $1,000 instantly just because they say they have $1,000. So the point of self-concept is to take other people off of a pedestal, because you shouldn't be doing that in the first place, and putting yourself on a pedestal. And if you work on your self-concept, then you won't have to, every single time you want money, or every single time you want to date someone, or every single time, I don't know, you want a Rolex, you have to go over and over again in your head and convince yourself that I'm worthy of this Rolex. I'm worthy of money. I'm worthy of blah, blah, blah. You can just affirm and persist in the new fact that you are worthy and that you are deserving and that you're chosen. So you'll realize that it never mattered in the first place, the desire that you wanted, because if you always get what you want, it doesn't matter if it's a Rolex, it doesn't matter if it's $1,000, you're going to get the Rolex, you're going to get the $1,000 because you always get what you want. So I would strongly urge and advise you to work on your self-concept. As someone who has manifested something and then could not keep it because I had a shitty self-concept, I would strongly advise you to work on your self-concept. I just gave you some self-concept affirmations. All you have to do is think as if whenever you think about you being worthy, you can set time aside to saturate your mind. You can set a timer, you can script, you can journal, which it's not on my list, but actually let's talk about that. So actually, yeah, techniques. So state isn't a technique. You're always in a state. Affirming and persisting is not a technique. People say that it's a technique, and we're not, it's not clicking. We're not understanding, because what is an affirmation? A thought. You're always thinking. You're always persisting in something, whether it be favorable or unfavorable. Also, people think that they failed at manifesting. No, you didn't fail at manifesting. You just didn't get what you wanted, but you persisted in what you didn't want, and you got that. To clear that up really quickly. Techniques are scripting. Techniques are, I think visualizing is considered a technique. Some people naturally visualize. I naturally visualize. Others have a hard time. You do whatever works for you, but I want to use scripting as an example. This is why manifesting, quote unquote, does not work for people. Let's talk about the I am lucky challenge, right? So they'll write for 10 minutes, I'm so lucky, or when they wake up in the morning, I'm so lucky. I'm the luckiest girl alive. Luck follows me everywhere. My middle name is Luck. Gosh, I'm so lucky. And then they go on with their day, and I don't know, a bird poops on them. Whatever somebody considers unlucky happens, and they go, oh, my affirmations didn't work. Manifestation is bullshit. Oh, gosh, this doesn't work for me. I'm so unlucky. I'm so unlucky. Nothing lucky ever happens to me. I'm just that girl. Like, and then they go, manifestation is bullshit. It doesn't work. Point of all of these techniques, the 22x2 method, the 55x, it don't matter what number you put in there. The point of scripting, the point of these techniques is to saturate your mind in the fact that you have what you want. So if you are scripting that you and Jim are dating, me and Jim are dating, me and Jim are so cute together, Jim is the best boyfriend, and then as soon as you come out of the visualization, as soon as you're finished journaling, you go, oh, I wish that was true. Me and Jim aren't dating though. Gosh, I remember when Jim left me on red 8 years ago. Like, he never talked to me. He said he hated my guts and he wants to block me. Then what was the point of anything you just did? Saturating your mind is to make the story that you want dominant, because dominant thoughts manifest. So if you're sitting here and you're writing or if you're repeating an affirmation for 5 minutes in the morning and then at night before you go to sleep, I'm so lucky, I'm so lucky, everything always works out for me, I always get what I want. But your dominant story is that you're constantly fucking complaining every single second of the day that you're not lucky and you never get what you want and things don't work out for you and money's hard to make and you're always coming across problems and love is hard and blah, blah, blah. And that's your dominant story. That's what's going to continue to manifest. You should not be repeating anything you don't want. You should not be repeating anything you don't want. And that takes discipline. So that is the point of techniques. If at any point you finished a visualization that you're in Disney and you want to manifest that you're in Disney and you come out the visualization and you're like, oh, I'm not in Disney. Well, you're not ever going to fucking go to Disney. I don't know what to tell you. Techniques are just to saturate your mind. You are embodying this person. You're embodying this person who's lucky. I feel like if a lot of you guys thought about it as embodying instead of to get, or embodying instead of, oh, it's just a desire and it isn't a part of me. It's separate from me. Nothing is separate from you. Going back to everything is you pushed out. Nothing can be separate from you because you are literally deciding how everything and everyone shows up in your life. Money cannot be separate from you because you are constantly telling a story about money. So you have to, and we're about to talk about this, detach. And people say detach and it's some law of attraction shit that I do not fuck with because they don't really know what they're talking about. Detaching from the desire, you cannot, why? Okay, if I desire something, that means I want it, right? Why would I let go of wanting something? If I don't want something, why the fuck would I manifest it? This shit makes no sense. I feel like people say, oh yeah, you have to detach, you have to not want it because there's something ingrained in society that we can't want things or we can't have everything that we want because there's lack of money, which is bullshit. If there was lack of money, there wouldn't be a handful of billionaires. I forgot the dude just spent $47 million on a clock. So there's not a lack of money. There's something ingrained in us that it's like guilty if we want something or guilty if we can get, if we want to have something. That's one. Two, I also think that law of attraction doesn't work all the time, unless if you assume it works. But what category does that fall under? Law of assumption. Law of attraction doesn't work. So these people that are teaching law of attraction want to be like, well, you can't place the blame on me if you didn't get it. Well, you probably just wanted it. You have to not want it. If I don't want it, why the fuck would I manifest it? It's not detaching from wanting something. Also, if somebody's making you feel guilty of wanting something, you probably should not listen to them. That's incredibly fucking limiting. You should be detaching from the old story. Jim blocked you 25 years ago on Instagram, even though Instagram wasn't big. Whatever. Jim blocked you on Instagram 6 years ago. Jim said he hates your guts and he never wants to date you again. Jim said if he saw you in the street, he'd punch you in the face. This is your old story. You don't want to get punched in the face. You want Jim to unblock you on Instagram. You want to date Jim, right? This is the old story. This is what you should be detaching from, because we know that, going back over our old notes, what you assume to be true is true. If you want to manifest something, you think as if, and it's your dominant thoughts that manifest. So you dominantly think about your new story, which is what you're currently experiencing. And you know that everything is just the story you tell it. Everything is you pushed out. So the only thing you should be detaching from is the old story. And okay, we're going to talk about 4D/3D because I don't want to say kind of should be detaching from the physical world, but in a safe way. Okay, so in the law of assumption community, it's called 4D and 3D. Your 4D is your mind, and your 3D is your physical world. You're always living in your mind. People tend to say they're in their head only when they're overthinking negatively, but you are literally always in your head every second of the day. You are always making a choice. You're always saying, for example, let's say you have two thoughts. You have the thought that you're ugly and you have the thought that you're pretty. You're either going to choose that you're ugly or that you're pretty, and that thought is going to completely change the perspective of how you're walking down the street and how people view you. You are always in your head. Let's say you choose that you're pretty. If you're pretty, your head isn't going to be down. You're going to feel confident, and when people pass by you, they didn't tell you. They didn't say anything. The same person can pass by you and look at you, and since you think that you're pretty, you're in the state of being pretty, you have the dominant thought that you're pretty, you're going to create an entire fucking assumption and story in your head. This is why when people are like, manifesting is bullshit, they do not realize they're doing this 24/7. So you think that you're pretty. So a person looks at you and you're going to spiral. Oh my gosh, they think I'm so beautiful. They want to ask me out. Let's say you think that you're ugly. You're in the state of being ugly. Somebody's going to look at you and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, she probably thinks I'm so ugly. Oh my God, let me put my hoodie up. Your beliefs change everything. Your beliefs affect everything. Beliefs determine your thoughts. So once again, if you have the belief, if you identify as the person, I always get what I want, then your thoughts will match that. And then your behaviors and your actions will match that. If you have the belief that you are insecure and you're not chosen and you're dating someone, then you're going to have insecure, not chosen thoughts. And then let's say your boyfriend goes to hang out with a girl. Then you're going to be constantly texting them, maybe because people have stalked their own partner, where does that action come from? Insecurity, not being chosen, being jealous, whatever. That all starts from the belief which you're dominantly, consistently telling yourself all the time. But your 4D, once again, your mind, your 3D, your physical reality. A lot of the time, the thing that trips people up is, but Indigo, I won $1 million, but it's not in my bank account. Everything starts off as a thought. This pen that I'm holding started off as a thought. This book, this hoodie, every single thing in the physical reality that you can touch, that you can pick up, whatever, started off as a thought. And that thought was thought about consistently over and over and over and over again. And now I'm holding this pen, and now I'm holding this book, and now I'm wearing this hoodie. Every single thing has to start off as a thought. Your mind, your dominant thoughts, your consistent thoughts are more powerful than physical reality. I don't give a fuck what anyone says, because if they weren't, nothing would be here. This book wouldn't be here. This phone wouldn't be here. Every single thing starts off as a thought. And since this thought was persisted in, since the thought of this Papermate pen, right? Papermate pen was persisted in over and over and over again. People thought, okay, well, what's the cap going to look like? What color is it going to be? Over and over and over again. It did not matter. Circumstances didn't matter, right? It didn't matter that the pen wasn't here and then it manifested and it's here. The definition of when something manifests, people who aren't into manifesting have probably heard it before in like somebody worried so much that it manifested into a sickness. It's a thought manifesting into whatever. It can be physical, but it can also be something in your mind manifest, right? So if you have the belief that you're insecure, the thought that you're insecure or a thought matching that is a manifestation of your belief. You have the belief that you always get what you want. So, I don't know, you ask your mom for McDonald's and she picks you McDonald's up. That was a manifestation because you always get what you want. You have been persisting in that over and over and over again. So you need to realize that it doesn't matter if it's not here. Also, do not claim that it's not here. So, a question that I very much like to go by. If this had manifested, would I be thinking this thought right now? If you want to manifest $100 and cool, right? Manifested $100 and then you have the thought, but I don't have $100. If the $100 manifested, would you be thinking that? No, you'd be thinking the opposite exactly. So don't think it, because once again, you're literally in control of everything. Also, the physical world is just your dominant thoughts. This also goes off of everything is you pushed out. Once again, this pen, this book, this hoodie, this chair, everything in this room, everything, literally everything. Somebody was dominantly thinking about it over and over and over again. Everything is just your dominant thoughts pushed out. Everything is just you pushed out. Once again, money. However you consistently describe money is how money shows up for you. At this point, if you're new to my channel, I bring this bitch up all the time. Kylie Jenner. I know this bitch is not sitting here thinking that money is super hard to make. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money, you have to work 8 jobs for money. No, she's thinking the complete opposite. In terms of money, if Kylie Jenner wouldn't be thinking it, don't fucking think it. You don't have to use Kylie Jenner. Somebody who's super rich, if they wouldn't be thinking it, you shouldn't be fucking thinking it either. Your 3D is just your dominant thoughts pushed out. And in order to change your physical reality, in order to change the 3D, you have to change what is being pushed out. You have to change your thoughts. If you're like, I have $500, I have $500, I have $500, and then you check your bank account to see if you have $500, nothing is going to fucking happen. And let me tell you why. Because you're using the 3D as validation. But if your 3D, your physical reality, is just your thoughts pushed out, your dominant thoughts pushed out, sounds like your dominant thoughts are the validation. So at no point in this process, you should be looking outward to get validation. In general, in life, you shouldn't be looking to others to validate yourself because you're always going to feel empty. But you're saying you have $500, and instead of being like, oh, do I have $500? Being like, yes, I have $500 and moving on with my day. You're saying you have $500. You're looking at your bank account, seeing that you don't have $500. That is the validation that you're taking. And then you're affirming that into your head. And it's a nasty loop that will continue until you cut it off and give yourself the validation. I have $500, checks bank account. I don't have $500. I have $500, checks bank account. I don't have $500. Nothing is going to fucking happen besides frustration and sadness. And then you're going to give up, which you cannot give up at manifesting because once again, you're either deciding you have something or deciding you don't. You are the validation because you're in control, because everyone and everything is just the story you tell it, because everyone is you pushed out. Give yourself that validation that you crave so fucking bad. Please, if you say you have something, you have something. I want to talk really quickly about manifesting instantly. You want to manifest instantly? That's great. I've done it before. I do it all the time. The people that are consistently manifesting instantly say that as soon as they have something, they have it. The people that manifest thousands of dollars instantly or a text instantly, whatever you want, they're not looking to their physical world for validation because they know that they are the validation. That's a very high form of self-concept, and that is a lot of repetition and discipline. So yes, you can manifest instantly, but the first thing you have to stop doing, because if you want to manifest instantly, and let's say, okay, I manifest instantly. So that means every single thing you've ever wanted is here. So why are you looking? What are you looking to? You should be looking to yourself. You cannot serve 2 masters. You cannot be alive and dead. You cannot be breathing and you cannot be holding your breath. You cannot be like, oh yeah, I manifested everything I ever wanted instantly and then go look to see where it is. That doesn't make sense. Free will. This topic can seem scary if you're not understanding it. And I first heard about free will and I was like, oh my God, are we all robots in the Matrix? No, I mean, if you assume that, sure, but I don't. No, this is literally everyone is you pushed out. I have this example of, I'll give another example. Felix, because I always bring up Lino. Felix from Stray Kids. You want Felix from Stray Kids to be your friend. You have this affirmation. Felix from Stray Kids is my friend. You persist in that affirmation. And then you have a thought. Felix from Stray Kids is not my friend. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know I exist. Whatever. You may think because of this doubt, because of this opposite thought, oh my gosh, he has the choice to not be my friend. He does not have a choice, whether you persist in what you want or not. Because guess what? You're going to choose. These are two options. You can have the third option. Felix has heard of me before, but he doesn't know. Whatever you choose, what you persist in will manifest. So free will does not exist. You are constantly deciding and persisting how someone is going to show up. So you can either persist in what you want or you're going to persist in what you don't want. They don't have free will regardless. Once again, like and this is everyone is you pushed out. This is kind of the same thing along the same lines. People are not robots. Please do not freak out. I don't know what Felix from Stray Kids is doing right now. I think they're in Paris. I don't know. Who knows? He might be using the bathroom. He might be calling Bang Chan the C word. Who knows? I don't know. It's just how he shows up in my life. So you just choose what is favorable to you. Nothing and no one has free will. Once again, everything is what you're constantly saying it is. Everything is what you are. Everything is just the story that you tell it. Last but not least, doubts, which I just now kind of talked about. There are different things you can do with doubts. The first thing you can do if you have, Felix is my bestie. Felix is not my bestie. You can go, okay, Felix is not my bestie. Actually, we know he is. So, but he's not. But he is though. But he actually is, and we're texting right now, so I don't even know what you're talking about. You can affirm the opposite, right? Because if somebody came up to me and told me that fish can't swim, I'm going to go, well, yes, they can. And then the person will go, well, they can't. And I go, well, they can. So it doesn't really matter what you say. Like, people are scared that their doubts will manifest. The doubt will manifest if you persist in it. Wow, because nothing and no one has free will. What you persist in, what you consistently tell yourself over and over and over again will manifest. People also feel like doubts or negative thoughts are more powerful. No. Negative thought, this thought that Felix is your bestie and this thought that Felix is not your bestie have, actually, I was going to say the same power, but they have no power until you give it power. So you being like, oh gosh, my doubts are so powerful. You're the one giving it power. Everything is you pushed out. You're in control of everything. But the first thing you can do is be like, oh, you know, actually, no, that's not it. Second thing you can do, which kind of goes into what people do when they consciously focus on states. You can just let the thought pass. The meditation that I am aware of and educated in, that is what you do. In meditation, it's not just you close your eyes and you go, hum, hum. No, meditation is also not about having zero thoughts, head empty. It's about when the thought that Felix, my examples are hilarious. When the thought, I'm changing it now. The thought that Jimin from BTS is not your friend. You don't freak out. You don't spiral and go, oh my gosh, she's not. Jimin doesn't know I exist. Jimin doesn't know who I am. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. No, you just let the thought pass because realize it happened already. It is happening now. So when somebody comes up to me and says, fish can't swim, I can either argue with them until I get blue in the face, or I can be like, okay, because I know that fish swim and I know that's not true. So I can move on with my day because I don't care. 1, affirm against it. 2, let it pass because it's not going to manifest. It's not going to happen. And I promise you, as someone who has done this before, one, it's incredibly calming. When you just let the thought pass and you just observe the thought versus being in the thought. When you're being in the thought, you're like, oh my gosh, Jimin is not my best friend. Oh my gosh, Jimin doesn't even know who I am. I failed at manifesting. I never get what I want. I'm always unlucky. And then you fucking spiral into the negative shit that you don't want. Or you observe the thought and you go, okay, I'm having this thought that Jimin doesn't know who I am. Where is this thought coming from? Is this thought coming from a place of the fact that I know I'm the creator of my reality? Is this thought coming from a place of I'm the operant power? Is this thought coming from what I want? Does this thought align with the desire that Jimin is my friend? No, in fact, it's the opposite. And the opposite is the opposite. The opposite has nothing to do with you. This video is 45 minutes long. I hope I have made things clear for you. I have over 100 videos on manifesting. If you want me to make a video on a specific topic, just look up my name and search up the topic, because 100% of the time, I already made the video. But when people are in my comments like, can you make a video on how to manifest $101.36 in 26 hours? Or how do I manifest? I got an F on my math quiz, but I want to revise. It's all the same. It is all exactly the same to manifest. I manifest. I intend that you realize it doesn't matter what the desire is, and it's all you, and everything is you pushed out. It's literally all you and what you decide. So I don't want to continue to make the same videos just because I feel like I have to make videos. So if I get an idea, or if somebody comments something and I'm like, oh, I can make a video on that, I'll make a video on that. But this shit is incredibly repetitive, because even though I made a 46-minute video breaking this down, at its core, it's incredibly simple. People tend to overcomplicate things because we live in a society where a lot of these negative quotes are persisted in, and it's so sad how people think that it can't be simple. They think that there has to be a catch, and it can't just be that simple. It is that simple. Whether you believe it or not, it is that fucking simple. All you have to do is think as if. When people have problems with this, they're literally just getting in their own way. So that's wavering. That's saying that you don't have it, or it's being like, oh, is this working? It's not working. Or you're asking 8,000 trillion million questions. And if you had just persisted, maybe you would have had it, instead of being like, oh, where is it? I don't see it. Am I doing it right? But the 3D is showing me that it isn't here. You are in control of everything. So whatever you keep saying is true is true. So stop saying that, oh, but my physical world isn't showing me that it's here. Because if you had it, you wouldn't be saying that. I've never been like, oh yeah, I have something, but I don't have it. No, you either have it or you don't have it. Stop wavering. Stop being like, oh, but stop and just think as if. It's that simple. That's all you have to do. So this is a mega video. I'm gonna go now.